Tony Romo is about to be the most valuable free agent on the market. The Cowboys are expected to release the franchise's all-time leading passer tomorrow. Mike Ducey in studio with the end of an era for the Cowboys.
Hi, Clarice. A source confirms to Fox 4 that the Cowboys will, in fact, release Romo tomorrow, the first day of NFL free agency. It will help the Cowboys free up salary cap space, especially given the fact that Dak Prescott is now the starting quarterback for this football team. Romo spent a decade as the Cowboys starting QB, undrafted out of Eastern Illinois. He spent 3 full seasons as a Cowboys backup, eventually promoted to the starting job midway through the 2006 season. And Romo leaves the Cowboys as the franchise's all-time leader in touchdown passes and passing yardage. At his best, a dynamic playmaker. At his worst, a risk taker who made mistakes with games on the line. Romo won just 2 playoff games, losing 4 times in the postseason, and now he's looking for a new place to play. Cowboys radio analyst Babe Laufenberg on Romo's Cowboys legacy.
In my mind, Tony was a great quarterback. Not a good quarterback, not a very good quarterback. He was a great quarterback. He did not have great people around him for the majority of his career. I mean, they were good in spots, and you can criticize his playoff performances or what have you, but I never looked at one and said, wow, Tony Romo cost them that game. I just think he was a very underappreciated player.
So where will Romo land now, assuming he still wants to play? We'll look at some of the teams that may be interested in Tony's services. That's coming up a bit later. I'm Mike Ducey, Fox 4 Sports.
Okay, Mike, many fans may not realize how charitable Tony Romo's been to Dallas off the field. Fox 4's Alex Boyer joins us with Romo's impact.
Well, Clarice, despite his very visible presence, Tony Romo keeps a pretty low profile when it comes to his acts of kindness. And while he may be reluctant to talk about his generosity off the field, there are plenty of people who are eager to speak up about all he's done.
This is called The Playbook, a life strategy guide for athletes, and this is a book developed by me and my son, funded by Tony.
Senior pastor Tony Evans knows Tony Romo, both as the Dallas Cowboys superstar and, more importantly, Evans says, humble philanthropist.
He's one of the most quality guys I've ever met, and he's being used by God for good.
Evans first met Romo while serving as the football team's chaplain, but the one-time starting quarterback grew his relationship with the Dallas pastor off the field, donating $1 million to Evans's Urban Initiative, a program Romo talked about in this video.
To win this battle for our communities, we need to do it together.
Romo's donation led to the nationwide expansion of the program, where churches adopt public schools and provide mentoring and other services to children in need.
We want them to be winners as people, and so this was funded by him.
It was while mentoring students at Cedar Hill High School about drug prevention in 2011 that Romo revealed he and his wife Candace were expecting their first child.
Do we have any kids? No, I don't have any kids, no. I actually got one on the way. My wife's pregnant, so we'll see. Yeah. Be fun.
We have the Queen of Scotland from Scarborough Fair.
Romo also gave his time to the Children's Cancer Fund, escorting young cancer survivors down the catwalk for the annual luncheon and fashion show.
It's people like Tony Romo who show up that night and walk those kids down the runway. That night, the kids are the stars. Tony gives his celebrity status over to the kids that night. Precious, priceless.
Romo also used his star power to help raise money for the Boys and Girls Club, an organization near and dear to his buddy, pro golfer John Daly.
He's a competitor, and that's what I love about him.
And it's the love for North Texas that has the community rooting for him in that game called life.
He is a man worth emulating. Raise your sons to be like him, and raise your daughters to want to marry somebody like him.
And speaking of marriage, Pastor Evans was actually the one to marry Tony Romo and his wife. Evans tells me while he hates to see Romo go, ultimately he knows that his friend has to do what is best for his career and for his family. Clarice?
So many people tonight to Tony Romo saying thanks for the memories. Alex, thank you.
A source says the Cowboys will release quarterback Tony Romo tomorrow when NFL free agency opens. The team's starting quarterback for a decade. Romo lost his job, first because of injury and then because of the emergence of rookie quarterback Dak Prescott. Romo would have counted $24 million against the Cowboys salary cap next year, highest number in the league. By releasing him and designating him as a post-June 1st cut, the team can spread a $20 million cap hit over 2 seasons. Romo is the team's all-time leader in passing yards and touchdown passes. The undrafted free agent from Eastern Illinois took over midway through the 06 season, put up huge career numbers, but could not put up the numbers that tend to define a quarterback's career. Postseason wins, just 2 for Tony. Now he'll look for another team. And Cowboys radio analyst Babe Laufenberg thinks Denver makes sense, especially with John Elway in charge there.
I just think if you're a quarterback and you're Tony Romo, you go to these other 30 teams, right? We'll leave the Cowboys out of it. And you go and talk to the president and the GM, and you're talking about the pressure that's on you as that quarterback, and they have no idea what you're really talking about. They think they do, but they don't. You go in and you meet with John Elway, and you say, hey, John, you don't know what I'm going through here. And he said, no, really, I do. You know, I've been there, done that, lived it. And I just think that's a huge advantage. I think it's a big reason why Peyton Manning went there, and I think it's going to be a big reason why Tony Romo will end up there.
As we said, Romo's numbers really impressive. The franchise leader in passing yards and TD passes, the 4-time Pro Bowler, 78-49 as a regular season quarterback, but just 2-4 as a starter in the playoffs. He's 4th all-time, though, in NFL passer rating. As Babe reminded me, he's number 1 in 4th quarter passer rating in the history of the NFL. Yes. Tony Romo, though, soon to be an ex-Cowboy. When Romo first came the Cowboys starter in 06, it was an amazing story to cover. The kid came out of nowhere, seemingly, was as popular as any athlete I had covered in this market. The honeymoon did not last forever, though. Tony didn't win a title here, and we can argue about how much of that was his fault. I do know this about Romo. On the field, a true professional. His actions off the field brought honor to his franchise. I don't know if he'll stay healthy enough to win someplace else, but I, for one, hope that he's able to give it a real shot.